Okay, so. Administrative duties. So 15 open session starts. So we have chief of staff report, the closed session items that were discussed, chief of staff report information only. We need approval for a couple of items here. Item 1, credentials, motion approved and disapproved. Motion approved. Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Quality abstain. Dr. Bell abstain. B2, quality division update, presented and we must approve or reject. I make a motion to approve that. I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Aye. And number 3, quality compliance report, that was detailed presentation, Q1, motion to approve or reject. I'll motion to approve it. Second, I second that. All in favor? Aye. Aye. The rest of the items will be discussed after the open session. So we'll go into CEO report next.
Public comment?
Oh, yeah, we have another one.
Right.
Okay, I'll skip that. Public comments, item 6, any public here? The comments? Okay. Favorite public here.
Greetings, Richard Beckhoff, Springville, California. I'll stop again. I object to the chief of staff report being presented in closed session. As far as the agenda is concerned, approval of minutes, October 25 minutes. The minutes included in the board package 2/2/11/22/22 are titled September 27, 22. Since pages 7 and 2 are all noted as October 25, and these minutes are different than the minutes titled September 25 in the October packet, I assume that's just a typo. Minutes, directors present. All 5 directors were listed as present as a call to order, including Dr. Bell. However, the vote on item 1, approval of agenda, lists Bell as absent. Further, in item 2, closed session, states the board went into closed session at 4:36 and that Bell was presented at 4:39. Item 7, the hospital CE report, the night of dueling panels, the fundraiser was mentioned. No amount was raised, or it was mentioned as how much was raised. I was just sort of curious how much that was, and how much success it was. Again, in the minutes, in item 8, business action items, September financials. Financial reports are always pretty difficult to follow when presented, and the written form is not always available prior to the meeting, providing no chance to preview them. I did go back to September written report and noted significant losses from the prior year, and also income substantially below budget. The October minutes reported operating revenue of $12,174,047 against operating expenses of $14,775,661, creating a loss from operation of $2.6 million for that 1 month. It also stated that supplemental fund of $938,362 were applied. Where did those supplemental funds come from? On open session, the board adjourned, according to the minute, the board adjourned from closed session at 6:57 and went into closed session at 6:57. As far as the general agenda was concerned, item 11, October 2022 financials and investment report were not available. I would have loved to have seen them so I could make comment on them, but I can't at this time. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comments? If not, we'll go into consent agenda, item 7. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Anybody has any comments on that before we go on?
Motion approved as presented.
Second, I second that. Anybody? Any other? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that's approved. So we're going to approve the minutes next. From October 25 regular board meeting. It was here. Make a motion. I make a motion to approve them. I review them. That's what it has. There's a typo on this one, I think, is the September, this one says September 27, right?
Yeah, it should be October 20th.
It should be October 21st. We need to correct that typo there, October 25th. It would be. Except that, I think most of relevant. Yeah, the directors, all of them are present, but one of the reasons I think was some of them, I think you, Dr. Bell came in late, for example, like today. So some of the items may not be there. So that explains the discrepancy. If somebody has a question. So with that correction, October 25, 2022, the date correction, other than that, make a motion to approve. I make a motion to approve it. I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's fine. Next, we go on to the CEO report.
Good afternoon. I do have a few things I'd like to share with the public and the board of directors. The Portland Police Department has been on a journey for the last several years, actually creating their own patches in recognition of breast cancer awareness in the month of October. And this year, they actually adopted a patch that was of the symbol of the Zavalin House. Which was very unique. They actually outsold all of their patches, so they created shirts in addition to this, and they raised over $10,000, which all the proceeds were donated to the Roger Good Cancer Treatment Center. So we are very, very proud of their support, and they will continue on. They have 3 new ideas that they would not unveil until next year of what they're going to choose for this fundraising. But if you have an opportunity next year to buy one of their patches, it's definitely the proceeds are used to help support our education and cancer awareness. Also, with that, we also had a number of other local agencies that actually raised a number of funds that donated also to the Cancer Treatment Center. As you can see here, $2,500. Human Being also raised, as well as West Coast Believer Center. And then we also had Hessler Elementary from Farmersville donated 100 blankets to our cancer patients. So much needed for this winter time. So we're very excited for their partnership as well. So be the voice of your community. As you know, as we come to the end of the election cycle and the results to be certified here in the coming days and weeks here, we do anticipate District 3, Dr. Bell's zone, will become vacant here soon. And as a result of that, we are reaching out to our community and constituents in Zone 3 for anybody that might be interested in running or being actually appointed for a 2-year term. So applications are going to be available. Very simple application that the board has requested to be submitted to them of the person's interest, as well as maybe attach a resume. And the board will be entertaining those applicants here in the next month or 2. Also, many of you, as well as myself, probably have experienced the surge of RSV and flu. We are definitely seeing it a lot sooner in our community than we have in years past. So our volume in the ED has been significant related to people with diagnosis of influenza A. You know, a lot of influenza A. So obviously, stay well during this, wash your hands, stay home if you're ill, right? All of those normal things, but definitely be aware. We're seeing a huge increase in RSV, and we're also testing as well those kids that are symptomatic. Also wanted just to highlight, many of you might know that for us that have delivered kids here, we have 2 volunteers that have spent 20 years, they're sisters, that have knitted caps for our newborns. And although that might seem so small, but such a generous task goes into this labor of love. And every child that's born here is this hand-knitted cap that keeps our babies warm. And so just wanted to highlight their years of service, 20 years of volunteering, all of this good work. So thank you to them. I also wanted to acknowledge it's time for marketing has put out our Health Insights. It's our new publication. Our winter edition is hot off the press. So we'll be getting you a copy. It comes out electronically. You can access it on our website. So Thank you to Kim.
On social media channels.
Great.
And
So it's another way to educate our community on the good works and the services that we're providing here in the community. And then with that, I just wanted to take a minute. This is our next agenda item. If it's okay.
Recognition of service of Dr. Pencils and Dr. Ashok Bell.
Yes, so this is my time. I just wanted to first acknowledge Dr. Searles for his 12 years of service as a board member, and Dr. Bell and his 16 years, right? So 28 years combined, but I would like to take you down memory lane before I ask them to come up a little bit. So, you know, obviously our CRB local healthcare district started 1947.
Here in 46.
1947. Got the little car out front, right? But so much has changed just in their time being on the board. This is only a snapshot of some very large ticket items. And one thing I've learned in healthcare is whenever you start a project, it doesn't happen overnight. It took Dr. Bell and Kent having a vision about where they wanted to take services in our community and directing us as leadership to follow through. Starting off with the central utility plant, which is in the back of the hospital. It actually serves all of the oxygen and all of our gases, and it keeps our lights on. It's the whole, I call it the heartbeat of the organization, but many people don't see it. It's state of the art. We've taken Kevin McCarthy through that building when he came on site. But we actually did that in 2012, finished it up in 2012. We actually went through all electrical utility reroute of this organization, instituted a new clinical lab that's state-of-the-art, that was a vision of bringing state-of-the-art laboratory services in our community, upgraded the cancer treatment center, the LINAC, the development of the cardiac cath. We purchased buildings that we put new services in. We've upgraded storage warehouses as well as parking lot expansion, Westwood complex. We brought state-of-the-art IT system into this organization, as well as upgraded all of our imaging services from the CTs, the MRIs, the USP 800 pharmacy compounding. We embarked on a new venture in the second column around the Terravella Rural Health Clinic. This service line was new to our community. It's been new to Sierra View. And so through your leadership, we were able to go down that path, as well as implementing our safety security for our infants, our medical office building lobby remodel, call light upgrades, endoscopy unit to the ASD. We have a new EMS radio service. We modernized our elevators, transformed many of our procedure rooms, as well as our three-story. But you also were instrumental in approving capital that was meaningful to the organization. And through your action, we were able to upgrade a lot of this equipment that gives the tools to our clinical people and our staff to be able to do the job to the best of their ability. And so with that, you can see the list goes on. It's not all about the bricks and the mortar. You've always supported the people. You were always passionate about the people care and the quality that we offer. And before that, I am grateful for your service as a board member. And you've been instrumental. So this was one of our first ribbon cuttings that we had in the back of the hospital. This is a central utility plant here where we actually got to do the ribbon cutting, one of the first ones I got to participate in. Here's where you came together to form the Central Valley Regional with the partnership via Delta. That was cutting edge. That was our first meeting of two boards coming together as district hospitals. And as you can see, you had a vision through strategic planning and guidance. You've actually helped us bring our residency program, internal medicine, to a district hospital. We're one of two district hospitals in California that actually has a residency program, which is very unique. You were able to help us start our wound care center. We went on a journey and we said we wanted to be able to treat patients in the outpatient. And you took us on that path, and we now have a 99% heal rate with treating patients in our wound care center. So remarkable vision that you both had for expanding services. Here is our clinical laboratory, as we mentioned, as well as the expansion of our cancer treatment center. But as I mentioned about the people, you also wanted to see us develop our own people from within. And so with that, we were able to develop our own clinical lab service training program, which is state of the art. We're only one district hospital that actually has this training program. And so, and not to say the least, cardiac care in our community. Here is the cardiac cath lab. And as Dr. Bell, you looked at it 3 times and it didn't pass the first time and it didn't pass the second time. But it was in 2013, I think about 2012, 2013.
It was passed the second time, but the new board came in and then they canceled.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, so some of the board members had voted no before they came back and they voted yes.
and look at us now.
Yes, they turned their vote on.
We got some bad
They passed
information.
3 times passed through the board.
But your tenaciousness of making sure things happen, you never gave up. And none of you did. Dr. Sorrells, you never gave up on us, even when times were bad and we weren't doing so good financially and the times we're experiencing now. You always believed in us. So we just wanted to say thank you. The one thing that Kent was very, very passionate about, and many of you might not know this, but his relationship that he created with USC allowed us to have the first partnership in Tulare County. And that partnership was to us taking a road trip after he had his own medical condition and walking all over USC campus. And I'll never forget having the first lunch with Dr. Gill and sitting down and saying, we're bringing this to Porterville. And he has brought us world-renowned, state-of-the-art urology services. And so with that, this was one of your biggest projects, and I just want to say thank you for that. And then, as you can see, these highlights, this is our rural health clinic and our new revision on our cancer treatment center. So we cannot leave here without recognizing Dr. Bell for all of his service and volunteer service and being our golf champion. He led me on the very first time I ever played golf, a second place award in our golf tournament. And I got to be on his team. First time I ever played golf, it was quite an experience. I loved it. But he has played every year in our foundation and has supported our foundation for many years. So with that, I just want to say, if I could invite you up, Dennis Townsend was going to be here tonight. He's feeling not well. So I have a couple things to present to both of you on his behalf, as well as a couple other recognitions. So Kent and Dr. Bell.
You want to go first?
Okay, so Dr. Bell, on behalf of the Tulare County Board of Supervisors, this is the certificate of recognition. Dr. Reddy, would you do the honors of?
This is on behalf of the board for so much service, 16 hours, 16 hours of board meeting. How many hours of board meeting? I'll tell you, how many? 16,000 hours.
I have all the counts.
Amazing service, and you deserve all the appreciation.
Thank you.
And this is from the board for all the service.
And
They're going to stay on the walls there in the office.
yes, and as many of you might not know, Dr. Bell has been our secretary in 2009, 2011.
And 20.
Permanent secretary, used to be permanent secretary.
You were the current.
Donna.
So thank you,
Yes,
thank
yes.
you all for doing all this.
I'd say smile, like we're good.
Finally, they are saying, sir.
I have just one more.
One more?
Just one more. On behalf of the cardiovascular lab, you were our first medical director, and we would like to give you an appreciation of service for instituting the cardiac cath.
Wonderful.
Thank you for being our medical
And the
director.
first cardiologist in town. right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you all. I really feel so much honored and privileged that several district people have let me serve on the board for 16 years. And they have let me step down at my own will, and they haven't had to remove me. It has been an enjoyable experience working with all the board members as well as the senior management and everyone else. Who would have ever thought 16 years ago that we would have a graduate medical program in Port Over, California? I couldn't have even dreamed about it. Thanks to Dr. Jeff Hudson. Where is he?
He's on vacation.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Convey him. Thanks to him who made it happen. Who would have ever thought that we'll be doing STEMIs in our state-of-the-art cath lab and sending the patient home the same day? Thanks to Dr. Gaurav Pandya for resurrecting the cath lab since he came in on the board. He's the one who really brought it on. And thanks to Dr. Sagarajan for making it happen and fulfilling all my dreams. Thank you. And thanks Donna and Ron and Doug for making it happen, make it propitious. So we are able to work in there now. Take care of that. Thank you all.
All right, and Dr. Soros. So Dr. Reddy, want to join?
I didn't know that we'd done all that. We probably should have charged something for that.
So this is a recognition from the County Board of Supervisors, and it's a certificate of recognition to honor you for your retirement of the Sierra View Local Health District Board. And we would like to say thank you for your commitment promoting health and safety in Tulare County and for bringing all the wonderful services in our community.
Thank County Board of Supervisors, yes, the county.
Yes. And additionally, we'd also like to recognize
Thank
you.
you.
For your service on the board here on behalf of the Board of Directors. Chairman, Board 2013, 14, 16, 17, and 21.
Wow,
Vice Chairman 2020, Secretary 2012 and 2022.
I didn't realize all that.
A lot of service.
Mhm.
See, I was up here.
We turn this around and Kim wants to take a peek.
You ready? Everyone's looking. Let me flip. Okay, hold on. Okay, got it.
And then Benny, you'd like to get.
Thank you, Benny, for
Funny.
letting him, serve our hospital and the community.
Yeah.
And you continue to serve us too.
Yes.
I knew something was up because she didn't go to bingo tonight.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
Went to get cookies instead.
Aw.
And we, along with Dr. Candy, I think they were very passionate for cath lab. We want to thank you personally, both of you. Without both of you, I think we would not have that.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you very much. I'd like to just have a quick, make a comment before I sit down, is I really owe all this. It's been great serving on the board. It's been very humiliating. Humiliating. Exciting and worthwhile, and I think we've gone through it in 12 years, all the different emotions one goes through. You're sad and happy and proud and humble and all that stuff. But first of all, I wouldn't be here today standing here if it weren't for Robert Trace. And I ran into him, Benny and I, when we first moved here, God, it's been 22 years, something like that. We went to Dr. Segre's house and we got there, and I should have never done that, because Benny said, well, why didn't we get a house like this? I didn't know they existed. I perfectly didn't take a hold of there when I moved here. But anyway, went to Dr. Segre's house and sat with Robert, and we had a good talk, and I said, I had just retired, and I really had a lot of, I've always been instilled of even my parents, is that service to humanity is the best work of life we can do. And I said, I'd really like to be interested in doing something with the hospital in my free time. He said, well, we can see what we can do. So probably a week or two later, he said, well, how about being on a foundation? And I said, yeah,
I would like that. So after on the foundation 4 years, I had learned a lot and enjoyed being on the foundation. And I think we want to, one of the years we had the foundation, we had the first dance. And we won the Chamber of Commerce prize for the best event of the year. But from there, I went on to the board, and again, 12 years. So, and second, I think my wife, because she's a retired nurse, and so she gave me a good approach from the other side, how the employee feels. Is, so you're on the board. She always kept me on alert about how the employee and the nurses feel in the hospital, and kept me on equal keel. So those two I owe a lot for being on the board. And something I've always wondered about on the board, any kind of board, is how do you measure how the board's doing? You know, every year and some psychiatrist, someone came up with a thing, you check numbers and you say, well, the board's doing fine. Well, what does that mean the board's doing fine? You know, the hospital is a little different than other boards of other companies because we deal with healthcare and we deal with people's lives. So I think one good measurement of how the board's doing is the services a hospital has. And Ms. Hefner was nice enough to list on the board all the different things that during Dr. Bell's 16 years and my 12 years, and now Dr. Panda's going on 11 years, he'll be 12 years pretty soon, that we were able to accomplish during that time. And I think that's a good reflection of how the board is, because it's very hard for a board to not micromanage and try to run the hospital themselves. They have to have a little common sense and, well, we're going to let the hospital do things and some may work out and some not. But I think this board has been able to do that. And you can normally judge how it was by the type of service and the quality of health that the people in Fort have had and what it's meant to their lives. And a couple of things come to, I think that are going to already be memorable to me. And there are three things I'll mention, and Ms. Hefner mentioned one, is that we're able to get, it's hard to get doctors to come to Porterville. So we thought one time, the administration, why don't we bring doctors here? So she mentioned we got involved with USC, and USC is the #1 urology department in California, the #4 in the nation. So through their work and through all our work and the board's interest, we were able to get USC to be here. So you don't have to drive to USC. You can see the #1 doctors in the nation here for urology treatment. And second of all, one that I always remember is, and I apologize to Dr. Segregated because we did mention, I think we had some false information on the cath lab because somebody got up and Dr. Bell said, that can't be right. Where did they get those numbers? Anyway, we wrote it down a couple of times. So we were persistent and we got it. And we finally got it built. And what's worthwhile is the story Dr. Segregated told. The ambulance came in, they had a call that a 40-year-old man, 2 kids and his wife, he had had a cardiac arrest. He was in full arrest. And they brought him into the emergency room. And with the cath lab, we were able to take him down there, stent him, and he went home that night. Otherwise, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, he wouldn't have done that. So that alone is worth to know that the board was doing the right thing. So thank everybody, and I've enjoyed serving. And
thank you very much. So we're going to business item. Now that we're done with the emotional side,
Our recognition.
so we're going to business side, October financials, Doug.
Right. Good evening. So starting off, looking at October with the statistics, you can see that our acute days for the month are well below budget by 345 days. Our average length of stay though was also down. Good news. Long-term care was slightly above budget and outpatient visits were off by 4%. On a year-to-date basis, acute days are down 8.5%, 652 days, but our length of stay is off 8.5%. So pretty much our discharges are right on budget, which is also a good sign. Long-term care days, just about right on budget. And outpatient visits, we're behind 4% for the year. And then if we compare it to last year, and we know it was a different time. So the inpatient days are down 25% from where they were a year ago. The length of stay is also down 21%. And so a little more efficient. Long-term care is below a couple percent. And outpatient visits are actually up. Our revenues for the month of October, you can see inpatient was off by 3 million, outpatient was ahead by 3 million, so just about right on budget. The issue with that though is that inpatient revenue has a higher rate of reimbursement than outpatient. That impacts our ultimate net patient revenue and put us behind for the month. Other operating revenue was also off by 100,000. So total operating revenue for the month about 12.2, 600,000 or so lower than we had budgeted. Expenses for the month, salaries and wages were up a couple percent. Benefits were off. One of the things there, we had a credit we were able to take against our health insurance for that month with United Health, so that had a positive impact for us. Pro fees were up 65,000. Purchase services up 200,000. You can see supplies and other expenses were below budget. So for the month, our operating expenses were slightly below, but we did end up with a loss from operations of $1,382,000. Non-operating items for the month, total non-operating revenue, 369,000, better than budgeted. It's got a decrease in our net position before we consider the investments of about $1 million. And then the decrease in the fair value of investments of 640. So decrease in that position of $1,660,000. Then on a year-to-date basis, our patient revenue slightly above budget, but again, inpatient is below and the outpatient is up. Net patient revenue, therefore, we're down 5%. Other operating revenues up 450,000, so we're just shy of 3 million below budgeted revenue. Expenses, total salaries, wages, and benefits for the year are up 489,000 over budget. Pro fees are up about $500,000. Purchase services, which is one that's been growing here recently, and we have to get our arms around, is up 450,000. Total operating expenses, 1.4 million year to date above budget. And we have an $8.2 million loss on operation. Non-operating items, $1,360,000 in total non-operating revenue, which is greater than budget. We come down to the decrease in net position of $6,857,000. And then we have a $4.1 million decrease in the fair value of investments. And again, as the Fed, if they make more rate increases, that'll impact us more, at least for a while. So we have a decrease in net position year to date of 11. And if we compare our operations to a year ago, total patient revenue, 5% below where we were last year. You can see a big chunk of that inpatient revenue is off 24 million. The net patient revenue is down 5 million from where we were last year at this time. Total operating revenue also off 5 million. Salaries, wages, and benefits are up 8%, and other operating expenses are. So our loss from operations is $8.2 million versus a $600,000 loss at this time a year ago. Now looking at our staffing costs, We had budgeted to be at about a 62.5% cost as a percentage of operating revenue. We're running 68.5%. That's 6% is a $2.8 million impact. Compared to a year ago, when we were running 57.8, the impact there is a little over 5. So that's part of what's impacting us at this point. And then looking at our key ratios. So the balance sheet's still in pretty good shape. Days cash on hand at 347 is pretty strong. Cash for debt is also strong. The operating margin and the EBITDA margin are below. Now, this is benchmark data is over a year old. And I would suspect now as that gets refreshed by Fitch, that those, the A and AA will look differently. Right now, what's going on for most hospitals and systems are losses. In the last week, I saw a number of articles talking about how cash flow or, excuse me, days cash on hand is declining for most hospitals and health systems. And the rating agencies are starting to downgrade some of the credits. So here, it's data nationwide. And our debt service coverage ratio right now is a negative number. So if that continues, we'll report out on that. And in accordance with our bond covenants, we'll have to lay out our steps for our turnout for our work. Any questions?
Like purchase service pays the travelers, the purchase service.
No, purchase services are more contracted items, like maybe in IT, we have certain services related there. A good example, collection agency is a purchase service, things like that. The travelers are in professional fees. That number on the professional fees for the travelers is kind of plumbing up, but we've got some higher costs in the employee side. So.
Purchase services, so those are one-time items, they come usually.
No, some of them are contract, they stretch over a period of time. Some of them are one time.
So other big thing is, your inpatient revenues are down 20%. Basically, length of stay is down. That's a good thing, but the number of days are down significantly from last year. Obviously, you can see in the hospital when you walk around. But the staffing is not coming down. When that comes down, you would think you need less people to have that many inpatient days. So somehow this is going opposite, 20%, 10-20% more, where the inpatient revenues are going 20% down. How do we reconcile that?
Well, the issue, paid FTEs are actually, especially in the last couple of pay periods, have come down. It's the cost per FTE that's higher. And that's part of what's going on in healthcare right now, is that inflation in staffing costs, whether it's contracted or your own, but that inflation has had an impact.
So FTEs are down, but the cost is up. Yeah, that's very disturbing. Something you can't control.
Right, and again, it's one of those things, that's one of the difficulties in healthcare right now, across the board. It's the staffing.
Only one you can control is travelers. You can't. I'm not sure you can't. The travelers stay.
We can to some extent. Again, we've been shrinking it up some, and that has an impact. Also going to the point of interest, so our inpatient revenue is down. What's interesting overall, though, our revenue cycle has been working pretty well. Our cash collections, even though our revenue is lower than a year ago, our cash collections are actually slightly better than last year. When we're getting hurt in the supplemental funds, the disproportionate share funds, the rate range IGT funds that come through Medi-Cal, those are 7 million behind last year. And that cash flow isn't there, and that hasn't.
What concerns me, let's say, volume picks up and we need more staffing. I'm concerned that cost is going to explode, the staffing cost. If you have a similar, let's say, imagine similar case like last year, picks up, the volume picks up somehow, either due to flu or whatever, you'll have issues with the costs on the staffing side. Do you expect that, or do you think you can manage the similar staffing costs?
We'll be able to manage it to a certain extent. I mean, there'll be smaller things like that, not bringing in a lot more travelers. I just don't think there's going to be a lot of them available. And I think, we're going to be in a similar boat. We're all going to, that staffing, that part's going to be.
But the point I'm trying to make is you have any idle employees, even though are we overstaffed for the state, are we right-sized staffing wise for the amount of length of, amount of days, inpatient days? The staffing of the hospital for the inpatient care. That's the question I'm posing.
Yeah, well, so we've been bringing that down overall. I think the other part in the, as we're going through this productivity analysis, that's gonna tell us even more and give us some additional direction on that. But I think we've already been trying to bring things down where we can. It's just we're doing that at the same time, you know, right now, with flu and everything going, so you're kind of pulled in a couple different directions, so. Yeah,
We're gonna get busier next few weeks, like 2 months.
I think so.
I have a question. So you said that your staffing cost is 6% above your budget, from 62 to 68%. So what can realistically be done to reduce that and match up that budgeted number percentage? You know, it's one of the things that come to my mind is that maybe you're paying too much to the staff that although whatever political or other currents are, but then still maybe you're overpaying, you know, like Dr. Sagaredi said that maybe you are, you know, keeping them for longer hours on the job. So therefore you have to pay more. But also the other factor is that hourly basis wise, you may be paying more than what we can afford. Not that they deserve or not deserve is a different issue, but then what we can afford, then is there any mechanism to reduce that, or do you think that would be a big issue with the staff and unhappiness?
Well, I mean, we're always trying to look at, are we in the market on what we're paying? No doubt if you fall way behind, you're not going to attract people, you're not going to fill your position. I still think probably the biggest thing impacting that cost, that 6% increase, is the use of contracted staff, just the impact that travelers have had, even back onto some of our employees, right? So the costs have been driven up, and again, that inflationary cycle, it's still present, and I think it's gonna be present for another couple of years. And so trying to become more efficient, that's what we're working on, that's what we have to continue on, but you can't get there, you know, it's gonna be very hard.
Lastly, you know, the meal penalty in California, is that impacting us big or how it is handled? Do we have a lot of those? What? There's a thing called meal penalty in California. When they don't go to, the employee doesn't go to lunch in 4 hours after they come in, right?
We're not subject to
We're not.
because we're
Okay.
quasi-governmental, so we follow federal wage and hour laws. However, contracted staff, their agencies are held to that standard, so they do have to.
But that's the level value, get them out as fast as you can. You can't have contract stuff, then we should get rid of them as fast. Yeah, I think that's, I think we're going in the right direction, yeah, you have a lot of work to do. Thanks.
I have a question. So, our value of our investments, you said it's dropped because before the interest rates were low and they were dropping, and now the interest rates are back up and we're still dropping. What is?
So we had some increase before the rates went up. So if you're buying investments in an interest rate environment where you can get, say, 1% for your investment, and in the bond rates, like now the 2 years up to maybe 4.5%. So as it's going up to 4.5%, you're holding something at 1%. In order for, if someone theoretically were going to buy it, for them to get that 4.5% return, you have to discount yours or take a loss down. So our thing is, if we hold on to them though, over time, they're going to continue to mature out, which we'll see that in the next report. And over time, we'll be buying more and more at these higher rates. We had artificially low rates for a long time. Rates got driven down after the mortgage crisis in 08. If you look back over longer term, but everything stayed well below the historical norms for over a decade.
Right, that's a long.
Then, after COVID, now they shot up, we have inflation, and so the Fed's raising rates, and so now you've got, you know, a 2-year rate that's at 4.5%, which is actually, I think, above historical.
So
It's higher, right?
I think you have to understand investment, the bond market. So bonds are basically priced with the total value, right? Only if you sell the asset today, you lose that value.
Right, so
So
it's
that money
paper.
is never lost. It's
Right.
actually on the paper only. Right? So it's like a markdown of the asset, but the asset is never going ever. So I think as far as the board is concerned, that number means nothing.
Okay.
It's meaningless number. They have a report by regulation, but we are not selling the asset. So let's say tomorrow the investors, you cash out of the bonds, you lose that money.
Okay,
But you let them mature it, you'll never lose it.
thank you.
But good news is the cash you are coming up, you're going to have higher interest rates. So
Another
you're going to
question.
actually have more income coming.
Okay, so I have another question. So I know that I saw a rate decrease of like 4.5 to 4.8 January, right? Does that affect us at all, or is that gonna happen? The Medicare rate, are they gonna drop or no? Is that wrong?
The reimbursement,
Yeah,
the Medicare rate.
I heard it was gonna drop in
Yeah.
2023, right? Or no?
Well, the inpatient rate, which started October 1,
Okay,
bumped up a little, not a lot, and the outpatient rate for January, I think some, maybe a couple percent.
okay.
Um,
Not down, because I was reading down.
Well, some things, so if you start looking at certain service, then it could be down. One of the things that could be a positive for us is 340B, the royalties are supposed to be moved back up. But then they try to do things to balance the budget, so other things may see a decline. But the overall should be at least 2% or so, which you can, given the inflation, we're seeing 2%
Doesn't help us all that.
help.
So it doesn't get us to 6 and 8.
It doesn't help. It does.
Okay,
And that's part of the thing right now, the mechanisms to reimburse both the Medicare and Medi-Cal are not even really dealing with that inflation.
okay, thank you.
So next item, so we'll need a motion to approve the financials, we'll go to the next item.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Investment report is next item.
So this is as of the quarter ended September 30. And again, our investment guidance, we follow investment policy that's set by the state of California. The California Debt and Investment Advisory Commission, they lay out all the various guidelines that we follow. And of course, maximum maturity of investments is 5 years, composition of the portfolio, we'll get to that in a moment, the percentages. And then our own investment policy. So the composition as of September 30th, you can see everything we have cash, and there's no maximum percentage on that. CDs, we're at 25.7, 30% is the max. Corporate bonds, we're at 26.2, again, we're below that max. Municipal bonds, US Treasury and agency securities, there is no limit, and so we're fine there, and then money market funds are well below there. So the composition is fine at that point. And then the maturity schedule over the next several years, you can see we've only got about 6% that's going to mature over the next year. And then, but once we get out into the next year, and then you can see really out there in 2 to 3, we've got 73, about half of it's going to mature. And that's when we'll need a lot of the unrealized losses. Right?
Yeah, this will explain exactly it.
So as that stuff moves out, we'll get rid of those. And as they get closer to maturity, you'll also start getting rid of it because it's going to get closer to its par value if you get there. So the 930s, again, 6% of the portfolio turnover in the next year. Our investment yield right now is about 1.6, so that's why also we're taking those losses, because with the 2 years up to 4.5, we're behind, but again, we'll catch up over time. Our budgeted investment income was 509 for the first quarter. We get 895, so we do better there. And then just the certification that we should have sufficient funds to meet our obligations over the next 6 months.
Thanks. Any questions for investment? Made a motion to approve that?
The one which are maturing, that's the one which are maturing pretty soon. Are you going to invest them back into the bonds, which are much higher rate now?
Actually, as we're coming up now, again, we're not getting those supplemental funds. We're gonna keep those funds in cash. In case we have to draw on that, because our cash, operating cash, well. We'll look at that as we're coming through, but.
When supplement will come, we can invest that money. So,
Yeah, and that's our big one right now is.
as long as interest rates continue to go up, you stay short. Once they're peak, then you go long.
Yeah, well, for us, 1.5 years.
Long is 5 years. But when interests are very low, we should have kept more short, anticipating that it's going to go up, but that's a little
Yeah.
hindsight. Yeah. Okay, any other question? Otherwise, need a motion to approve investment report?
Make a motion to approve. the
A second,
investment report.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next item is quarterly foundation report.
Yeah, with us tonight is Karen Johns. She's our vice chairman of the foundation. So she's going to give the board an update from the foundation's perspective. Thank you. You're welcome. We appreciate your service.
Well, Janice is out sick tonight, so that's why she's not here, so. Anyway, I'm glad to be here for the foundation. On April 29th, we had our annual golf classic at River Island Country Club. Our attendance was down a little bit this year, however, we were actually able to raise more money from the raffles and sponsorships. Our total dollars raised is just over 41,000. And all proceeds from that are going to be going to the 20 workstations on wheels for the various departments here at the hospital. And on October 1st, we did something new. We held our first ever dueling pianos event, and that was held at the home of Kim and George Ramirez. Had about 230 people there in attendance. It was a lot of fun. Want to thank all of the members that were at the event. The dollars raised for that night, we're still kind of working on that. It's looking like though we're going to raise around $25,000. And again, those proceeds will be going to the workstations on wheels. The other funds that we have donated this year include $5,000 that was donated to the PAWS students. $1,000 donated to Bridge Services to use towards the town and country certificates for the post-acute care transitions program. We sponsored the Churros food truck, which was donated to the hospital staff for Employee Appreciation Week. And $2,500 was donated to the Terabella Community Health Center to help sponsor the purchase of blankets and teddy bears.
And that's for our upcoming event at the Terabella Community Health Center, which is the Jolly Jingle. We're gonna be doing flu shots. They're gonna be doing glucose screenings. They're gonna have taco truck. A folklorico group will be performing. We're hoping Donna can come and talk. It's in your email. So 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at our new Terabella Center. Everything will be happening out there. The foundation graciously donated those items for needy families helping.
And then a couple of other things, we are donating a tree for the foundation for the CTC mini Christmas tree auctions. And some of the dates we'd like you to put on your calendar are April 28th for the golf classic at River Island. And then we will be working on a fall event. We haven't honed in on the date for that. It's probably mid-October. And anyway, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
That's good. Need a motion to approve the foundation report.
Make a motion to approve the foundation report.
Second, All in favor?
Aye.
Right. So, that concludes the announcements. Next board meeting will be on December 20th at 4:30 P.M.
And the Zoom ending, you want to announce that?
Huh?
Do you want to announce the Zoom?
Oh, yeah, one more thing. I think this Zoom, since the pandemic is almost over, we don't think we want to keep doing the Zoom meeting, all this technical stuff. So we, from the next meeting onwards, we will get away from Zoom meetings, just regular meetings like we do with this. So that's,
It'll be open to all public then.
yeah, open to our public, they can come in with a mask. And that's it. So, so that concludes that. We're going to, after a 5-minute break, we're going back to closed section to finish that.
Thank you.
My God.